Once came a young elephant upon a great line, with lions and tigers and beasts of all kind. They stood and they stood all in a row, elephants, cheetahs, and baby hippos, springbuck, impalas, giraffe, and gazelle, gorillas and zebras, the best he could tell. "Move to the back!" echoed out a wild cry. "Move to the back and don't dare to ask why." The line faded off, the line carried on. It carried on into the sun. He gave it some thought and couldn't resist to get to the bottom of this, so he tapped with his trunk a friendly hello on the back of a big, indignant rhino. "Could you tell me what's up?" he said, rather shy. "I could," said the rhino. "But you're going to ask why." "You see," said the rhino, "why isn't allowed. It's almost an insult, for crying out loud. Just look at this line. Just look at this view. Think of these others smarter than you." He looked at the line. He looked at the view. He responded the best that he knew. If why isn't allowed, how about how? How did this line get to right now? Never before had this ever come up, and this kind of thing from an elephant pup, for it was well known both the young and the old followed the line and what they were told. "Ooh," bellowed the rhino, "do you think that you are? Don't you know asking is going too far?" "Who?" said the elephant. "Why, who will do fine? Who's a good start? Who started this line?" The rhino was riled, was certain to say, "This thing must be righted and made right away." A firm hand, thought the rhino, a twist and a spin, and in no time at all he'll be falling right in. "Win," said the rhino, "win I can do, but how, why, and who are simply taboo." Now the rhino paused briefly, for he liked hearing the sound of himself sounding profound. "Win is an answer, yes, that I can tell you. It's clear in my mind. I haven't a clue." The poor pachyderm then scratched his head. He thought about all that was said, and then he thought and he thought again about everything said, who, why, how, and when. Then he did the unthinkable. He stepped out of line. He knew it was right. He knew it was time. Out went a cry that could clearly be heard. Then a strange silence. Then not a word. They all turned together, a line full of heads. They turned with their faces of red. "To the back of the line! To the back of the line!" said the lions and tigers and beasts of all kind. "To the back of the line! To the back of the line!" But he just kept on going, one step at a time, past all that stared and stood in a row, past the elephants, cheetahs, and the baby hippos. Then he lengthened his stride and made his own trail, and pronounced his defiance with the flag of his tail. He simply went on through the thick and the thin. He simply went on because he was, well, him. Then he stumbled upon it, a grand watering hole, and to his surprise there wasn't a soul. There wasn't a soul, and it seemed such a shame to not share his good fortune with the rest of the game. So he looked to his right across the tall grass. He looked at the line that he'd come to pass. There, snoozing in front, was an old elephant bull. He was holding up everything, a line that was full. Behind him his wife had a huge parasol. She was blocking the view of them all. So he whistled and blew his great trump, but not one of them moved, not one single rump. Not one single rump, Not one single hide, not a hippopotamus bottom or a hyena's backside, crowded close to each other, holding on to their place, as if leaving the line was a social disgrace. And then it came to him, a thought rather strange. They didn't like how it was, but they weren't going to change. They stood and they stood, holding on to their spots, never thinking the question, never asking why not. And that's when he knew, for the very first time, you can't be who you are at the back of the line.